But the thing, of course, that was happening to you before then, of course, it was probably one of the most significant things I know to you in your career, and that was the Goons, which I know that, I mean, wasn't just a passing phase in your career, it's something that you still very much adore. In fact, you look back on it with tremendous fondness and things like that.
The happiest time in my life,
yes,
and professionally in my life.
Yes, and of course, you brought out this this book, which is the Book of the Goons, which in fact is the third.
Yeah, this is the third one. This is the
volume,
final one, I expect. Yes, yes.
And there's one marvellous thing in here, which was I was going to ask you about the Goon voices and where they came from and this sort of thing. And in fact, in the book itself, we've got this marvellous little section, which I can find here, I think, which in fact is a sort of glossary, it's called, which lists all the voices and and tells you, defines them. It was quite. Could you in fact go through the ones that you yourself were involved with?
Well, I have to tell you about them all, but I'll go through very quickly. Jim Spriggs, a kind of strangulated voice that Spike used, pronounced Jim. He was a hello, Jim. Hello, Jim. What it was, Spike used to sort of pronounce these words in the in the key of C major. Hello, Jim. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Little Jim, a high-pitched child played by Spike who lives in Eccles Boot, is thought to be his nephew. He points out when people... He used to say... He's falling in the water. When Spike and Eccles and Bluebottle used to have a scene, I get, what did he say, little Jim? Spike. And he said, he's falling in the water. A Swede, a very rustic voice based on a character who Peter met in Sussex, the home of producer Peter Eaton. I remember that. Oh, big right nose. Peter Eaton said he was talking in a field with one of these fellows, and he don't mind my arm. And a whacking great bowing went across and drowned out everything they said, you see. And after it had gone away and all sound had gone, this fella says, I don't like all that bloody tackle up there. Now, he'd reduced years of research and everything into one word. Oh, I don't like that tackle, no. Geraldo, well, we all remember dear old Geraldo. That was a sort of voice where he'd, hello again, we're on the radio again. Based on the late Bandley's voice, yes. Flower Dew, a camp voice used by Peter and Spike. This is based on a couple of puffs we knew at the time. Sorry, beg your pardon, I'm saying.
Called Flower and Dew.
Flower and Dew. Who'd gone to church for the first... one had gone to church for the first time. I said, you must come to church. I said, oh, I can't. I said, well, yes, I must, you know. So I said, no. And we come to the full ceremony, you know. So we go in there. They said, well, I don't know what to do. He said, don't worry about it, you know. So I know the whole thing, you know. They said, and the priest came in with a, incense, and he was waving around, all the smoke was coming out. He said, and they were walking down the aisle. The priest was walking down the aisle with the choir boys. And this other one, who didn't know much about it, rushed up to the priest, grabbed his arm, and he said, I say, do you realise your handbag's on fire? That was... Thank you, Major. Thank you, Jim. Ah, yes. I should be banned from everything soon. Banned from the East Finchley Boy Scouts Club. Terrible. Singe's lalkaka. Singe's thing. Singe's thing. That's what I like. Singe's thing. Oh! And Babu Banerjee. Two Hindus played by Peter and Spike. Well, now, Spike was born in India, as you know, and I spent about 3 years out there, so we started to bring this sound back. Now, a lot of people came back from India at that time and suddenly knew the sound very well, but couldn't, they hadn't heard anybody. What I want to know, sir, no, please, but it turned out. So that was that.
What do you mean that was that?
Well, they became incredibly popular, those two. Fred Bogg, it said, a Cockney idiot played by Harry. Now, I can't remember Harry doing this. Harry used to do quite a few voices. I can't remember the Fred Bogg voice. I can't remember that one. Cyril, a friend of Spike and Peter. Cyril Waterman was a chap who used to live in these flats, And Cyril was the sort of fellow who had to do something before you had done it. Now, if we'd been to the Palladium to see a top of the bill and we saw, say, he said, we saw Sid Nurge last week, Cyril. He said, I've seen him. So I said, he's only open last night. He said, oh no, I've seen him. He went to the south of France. I tell you a terrible thing. He went to the south of France and he said, who do you think I saw in the south of France? So I said, I don't know. He said, Don Andrews. And then he said, he's a confirmed alcoholic. I mean, I'm sure he never met Don. I mean, I don't know how he knew. Probably Don Andrews never had a drink in his life.
I'm sure not.
That was in thing to know about. You see, Cyril. I've seen him. I wonder if he's listening tonight. It would be funny. Listening. What am I talking? It's radio. It's television. Hearn salesman. Ernest Hearn, a solemn, humorless American announcer, voice used by me. Yes, I used to do that. I used to say, well, on behalf of the Hearn. We used to use the sounds, American sounds. We didn't use words. This is the American bar of the Hearn part of the name's on the Hearn. Yeah, Hearn part of the Hearn. And here's African chief. Used or based on Big Chief Ray Ellington, bim bum bala boo. He was always chasing Bloodknock for, very sort of naughty reasons, He said, don't come in, Ellinger. Don't come in. Me won't come in, make you prisoner, Bloodknock. Come inside, me come in. And then as soon as he got in, Bloodknock would rush out the door and nail it up. Oh dear, a quavering duchessy voice used by Peter. Oh, I used to use a duchessy voice. I've always done that one. Oh, my dad. I know, dirty story, but I can't tell. But, it was so terribly like that. They all live in Eaton Square or Belgrave Square. And they were so frightfully like that. Oh, so terribly. Used to do a lot of it.